What up, New York Giant Nation and sports fans all over the world? It's your boy Mac the Giants fan, and I'm here with my guy Adam Costas. Our other homie Zion will be joining us shortly, and of course, the wind beneath our wings, our angel up above, NYG Jeffy T, always looking down and shining bright on us. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go. What's good? What's going on with you, Adam? How you feeling, man?
I am good. I've gotten over a lot of the angst that is last night's game, and I'm looking forward to this Sunday.
What's going on, Reese, man? It's the homie Big Reese. It's good, bro. Yeah, y'all dogged us last night, man, but it is what it is, man. Good game, though. Homie, a big Niners fan. But yeah, we gonna talk about that in a little bit. But first, we're gonna get right into something. We're gonna get into the NFL in general, the league, going around the league, man. A lot of injuries right now. A lot of big time injuries to big time players, man. This week, a couple of more went down, out for the year. Hell, one of them, Nick Chubb. We don't know what the real status of his. He could be. It could be it permanent for him. It may be a career ender for him, unfortunately. And Trayvon Diggs went down yesterday in practice, or a couple days ago. Can't remember. I think it was a couple days ago or yesterday in practice with a torn ACL. And just been injuries all around the league, man. Aaron Rodgers week one, J.K. Dobbins on Baltimore week one.
Barkley's
Just
injured.
others nagging. Barkley's injured with the sprained ankle. Just other nagging injuries, man, going around the league right now, man. How do you feel? How you think it affects some of these players, teams, and just in general, just the injury situation in general with the NFL right now?
Well, first, it's horrible, but I want to say one thing: Nick Chubb, man, whatever you do, you were a great player in your time. And if this is your time to hang it up, because I think it's the same knee that he injured in college in a hellacious way as well. Two knee injuries, devastating for the same knee is tough. So we wish you all the best and get well. What I will say is this: it's unfortunate for the running backs because the running backs are all injured. Cam Akers is also injured, right? You have Nick Chubb injured, Saquon Barkley. So these guys are looking for big contracts, and all of a sudden, 3 weeks into the season, they're all out or injured. And it's kind of interesting all the injuries. I think it has to do, honestly, some of it has to do with preseason. I believe, and I've always believed, your body takes a pounding, right? And now that they don't do two a days, like when you grew up, you saw Parcells, the two a days. When you played, you had the two a day practices, the one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Your body's sore, you're building calluses, your body's getting stronger because you're building up all that tolerance. And I think what happens is you play these games so intently and so intensely that you're taking cars that haven't been in a car wreck, and now saying, okay, let's do, let's do dirt car derby, right? And you're smashing them all up. So they don't have any time to build up any callus. And I think that's what you're seeing a lot of some of these soft tissue injuries. Nick Chubb that was just unfortunate. They were talking about that the other day on NFL Network. They're like, is it a dirty hit? Well, Micah Parsons has nowhere to hit, right? The strike zone is now for where you hit somebody is so small. So it's basically the waist or lower, right? Try to upend the guy. So I don't think it was a dirty hit at all. I just think it was unfortunate. As for the rest of the league injuries, we'll see how it affects teams right now. I think the Trayvon Diggs one is huge, but I think the Cowboys, if that's one injury you can overcome on defense, you can mask coverages. It takes away a lot. It might mean your defenders might have to do a little bit more, but hey, man, that's the NFL. This is why you pay your backup players. This is why it's a next man up mentality. This is why we tell you it's never perfect. Like, if to hope for the perfect team, it's just not going to happen. So those are my thoughts. Sorry, I was a little long winded there.
No, not at all. I mean, I agree a lot with what you said there. And Yeah, we'll take it as far as even like not even just the preseason, man. Like I said, go right back to practice, man, because this is it's the whole thing, and it's because during last night's game, part of one of the biggest issues I took away from the game, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, is the missed tackling in that game, particularly by the New York Giants. But it's a league wide thing, man. It's poor tackling all around this league, man. And a lot of it comes from just the way we practice now. The way they practice now everything is too, oh, we don't want anybody to get hurt in practice. We don't want, you can't have that mentality, man. This is football. It is a collision sport, it is a contact sport. These guys got to get after it, man. And in practice, you gotta hit and practice more, man. They don't do enough of that. All this tackling dummies and whatnot. That's not the same as tackling a human being. That's not. It's just that doesn't condition your body the same way. So when you get out, you're getting out there, and all these guys are getting down, going down. That's exactly what you just said. It's because their bodies aren't conditioned to the contact anymore. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous to me. These guys get paid millions of dollars. They get paid the top dollars. That's what they're part of what they're getting paid for, man. That risk of what they're putting their bodies on the line to do. But at the same time, I mean, if all you're gonna do is hit on Sunday, that's not good enough. You gotta be more prepared for it than that, man. You gotta practice the way you play. What you expect is getting to the games, man, and it's just not enough of that anymore, man. Everything is too. Oh, you can't hit on this day. You can't wear full pads. Then you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't. Everything is you can't. That's all. Everything is you can't do this. You can't do that. Like what are you talking about? You should be able to practice any way your coach sees fit for you to practice. And if that means hitting drills and tackling drills, because Lord knows some of these teams, and yes, the New York Giants, like I said, we'll be talking about in a few, need some serious tackling drills going on because that's a problem, man, and it's a big problem, and it's a shame because these injuries, like you said, Nick Chubb, man, I'm devastated for that young man because he's one of the best premier players in this league, man, and now who knows? We may never get to see that again and see him on the field again. Honestly, that was a bad injury, man. That is devastating, and it was indeed the same knee that he tore up in college. Man, it was the exact same knee. So, like you said, two injuries like that to the same knee, man. I mean, it's going to be tough for him to come back from that, man. It really will be, unfortunately. Trayvon Diggs, what you said, another just injury in practice, freak injury.
I said it was
Another talented
devastating.
young man. You said what?
I said it was a devastating injury.
I'm so,
For that injury, I thought you asked me what I say about Trayvon Diggs. I thought you were asking a question, so I was just saying it
oh
was a
no,
devastating injury, but I
yeah.
think they'll be able to overcome it. Is what I said.
Well, I think yeah. I think in the case of Dallas right now, the way that this team is built, especially defensively, it's a big loss for the caliber of Trayvon Diggs, obviously back there in your secondary. But what they do up front, man, that defense of Michael Parsons and company, man, I'm not saying you can just plug anybody back there to replace Trayvon Diggs, but at the end of the day, they get after the quarterback up front, so that's
Treat him
going
like a
to
trophy.
help whoever has to step in. It's gonna be a big help to whoever has to step in and step up and try to fill the shoes of Trayvon Diggs. I mean, that pass rush is serious in Dallas, man, and I mean, just even beyond those guys, man, you got like young running backs like J.K. Dobbins. Another guy just struck with the bad luck thing when it comes to the injuries, man. This is out his second season-ending injury now. First he tore his ACL a couple years back. Now he's ruptured his Achilles. It's I mean some guys just don't just had a bad luck, I guess, when it comes to this kind of thing, and that's unfortunate for a young man, also talented individual down there in Baltimore. Just can't seem to get his feet wet. He just keeps getting these injuries that just keep hindering his career, man. And pretty soon, pretty much just find your way out the door after a while, man. Unfortunately, when it comes to those things, because it's just hard to just keep coming back and trying to rehab process, and it's just a pain, man. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is determined that if the Jets can somehow put something together this season now in his absence and make the playoffs, he's determined to try to return for the playoffs, and that's why he got the surgery so quickly. But that's another story for another day. We'll see if that even happens. But it's just these injuries. It's just taken away from the game that I love watching. You're not a lot with this season in particular. There's so many of the top guys, man. Like right now, like you said, we got Giants, got Saquon Barkley dealing with an ankle. Hopefully that won't keep him out too long. But it's so much, man, and it's really devastating, unfortunately, for the league.
Well, I think I want to touch on one thing you said about the practice, right? The practice, and this is why I think the injuries happen, is you tell a boxer to not spar with anyone, just shadow box. Just shadow box all week, and then you know what? We'll throw you in there in a real fight at the end of the week and see how you do. You're not going to have your cardio. You're not going to have the callus built up in your body. You're not going to have that muscle memory from getting hit from another person and that reflex. You're not going to have all that harnessed in, right? So when you have to build that up and you have limited time to do it, what tends to happen is that you get what you see, and that is um, terrible play and people getting their sea legs about them. And that's why the first 4 weeks is the preseason that everyone really kind of gets going because you play four full games. I am of the ilk where I think next year an advantage is to those teams that did play their stars. Look at the Ravens. The Ravens played most of their guys because they play those preseason games hard, right? They try to win them. So maybe they're onto something that we should all look at and say, hey, listen, this team comes out, they're crisp, they know what they're doing, they don't have the injury. I mean, J.K. Dobbins did, but I think that's just unfortunate luck, and that might have to do with some other thing. Maybe they need to come back to the facility. Maybe they need to be monitored by their team trainers and team doctors because you know you go out and you train with your friends and everything like that. It's not a watchful eye, right? There's nobody on you. There's nobody checking in on you. Hey, man, are you doing the weights? Are you here? When you're in the building and you're building that camaraderie, teams are built in the off season. And these guys have to fly in for like a week, do a passing camp, then go back and live their lives because the voluntary mini camp is too hard for them. Well, guess what? That's why it should be voluntary. And if you decide to show up, it's on your own leisure. And it almost should be like a football education where you're like, hey, I'm learning the playbook. I'm learning where everything is. I'm building my camaraderie with my teammates. I'm going to get stronger. And then you won't have all these. I think you'd have less issues with these injuries like Achilles. You know how many Achilles have been popped in the NFL so far? I feel like it's a record.
Insane. But it's just crazy to me. I can't wrap my head around it because it's like you're gonna tell these kids in high school that it's okay to go to school all day long, go out to practice, and they're hitting the whole damn time all through the summer, hitting. College kids the same way, but then you get to the NFL and all of a sudden, oh no, you can't do that, guys. You can't hit, you can't tackle each other. You got to go tackle those pads over there. No, that's not. What is that getting you? How does that get you prepared to play football?
And and the thing is, Mac, is that when you're playing against the pad, you don't have any like body movement. Like on the other side, when you used to do the tackling drills, you had somebody going one on one with you, right? You had somebody that was making a move on you, right? You had to like if you. I remember Oklahoma drills. Well, not the Oklahoma drill, but it might have been the Oklahoma drill, where you lie flat on your back. The coach throws you the ball, you get up, and the guy tries to tackle you, right? Like I learned how to take a hit and learn how to take my body control. When you don't do that and basically become a weapon on the field, because that's what they're doing, man. They're just flying into each other. You saw how many guys just flying in, don't even wrap up. They just try to hit you and then fall off. I mean, I don't want to get into the Giant game, but there was a lot of
Ridiculous.
just guys trying to fly in and hit you and go for the knockout blow, and then it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that old school bull in the ring drill we used to do back in the day,
Yeah,
whatever. I mean, like you just in there, you just literally just pounding each other for like that's it. It just pretty much collision after collision after collision, but that gets your body conditioned, man. It matters. That stuff matters. This game is football. That's what it is. It's a contact sport,
it's a
and you
violent.
have to be ready for it. And yeah, that's what you get. That's why you get paid the top dollars, man. Because you're taking a big risk and you're putting your body on the line. So you got to be ready for it when you go out there on Sundays, man. You got to be ready. It's like Zion gonna be joining us in about a half hour or so. He said. So we're gonna just keep holding it down, Adam. But I guess, man, if you got any more thing on these injuries and whatnot, man, I guess we can get into Thursday night debacle, man.
The last thing I'll say about the injuries is I think what's happening also is these guys are building the wrong muscles up. They aren't as flexible. They aren't getting the hydration that you need. You blow an Achilles because most likely your muscles are tight from lack of dehydration and all that stuff. So as much as they're watching their bodies and doing it, I think it would be beneficial to get in and get these teams in there and get going. Like look at the Eagles, right? They're struggling right now too, and I think it's because they haven't played preseason. And now you're starting to see their defense kind of come alive after they hit somebody for what? Now they've been 12 quarters or something like that. So, but we get to the Thursday night game.
Yeah. I look. I'll let you start that. I'll let you go ahead and start that off, brother, and see,
Well,
cause whew,
I had a whole thing prepared in the morning when I was walking around my house pacing because people, you know, were kind of looking at my thought process in the wrong way. I said this team would have a hard time against 49ers, and they did. I don't care what the score indicated. You're not going to convince me that they were close or kept close. They lacked effort. They lacked heart. They played hard, I guess, the first quarter or so, but that's about it. I mean, the 49ers are in a league of their own. This team is not a top team, the Giants. I'm sorry. Okay? Again, let's go top to bottom. I'll start with the defense first because we always start with the offense. Defense. How do you give up 441 yards of total offense? 441 yards of total offense. Brock Purdy threw for over 300 yards. They rushed for over 100 yards. They got whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, however they wanted. Oh, and by the way, let's talk about the penalties, okay? Untimely, undisciplined penalties. It seemed like every time the 49ers were in 3rd and 13, which, by the way, can you stop somebody on defense? Can you get them off the field on 3rd down? I mean, my God, this team was like 8 of 12 on 3rd down. That's insane. And some of them were like 3rd and 9s and 3rd and 12s. This team, and then they would throw a little slant route that we get tackled on, right? The Giants throw a slant route, everybody swarms to their team, gets tackled. They throw a slant route, and guys are bouncing off them. They're getting an extra 8 yards after contact. Are you kidding me? Or what happened? What happened to all the momentum I heard about from Arizona? What happened to all that? Huh? What happened? I'll tell you what happened to all that. We got a mud hole stomped in our ass because we're not ready to play these big time teams. And I don't care what anybody said. The offensive line, yeah, it was adequate at times. There was leakage here and there, but this is what we pay you $160 million for, to raise up and keep this game competitive, to keep the defense fired up, to keep them going. Because the defense, it seemed like at the beginning, was trying to hold their water, and the 49ers were, getting their sea legs about them. But you could have intercepted Brock Purdy. You didn't. Okay? You could have stopped them a few times. You didn't. You gave up 30 points. You know how many points the Giants defense have given up the last 5 games? Oh, let me break it down to you. 24, 38, 40, 28, and 30. Okay? And 30. You know how many sacks we have over those last 5 games? We had like 2 sacks. Okay? And that came in this game now. Can we make a stop? I mean, the 49ers were practically giving you chances after chances. That's what you got to capitalize. We have no turnovers. None. 0. A goose egg. How do you have no turnovers in 3 games? You know how many the 49ers have? Oh, like 6. They turned us over in this game. And how about this? This is also what irked me, right? Let's go to the offense real quick. And I have something that irked me about Brian Dable. First off, the offense. None of the running backs ran well. Okay, they had no game plan. They feel like Daniel Jones was taken out of his running element, which they led him to pass. Daniel also had a bad game, which I suspected he would because we play a top 5 defense, and his record against top 5 defenses is buckus. And then you have no Jalen Hyatt. You have him for 9 plays. You don't even look his way. Darren Waller, I don't know if he's injured. I don't know what his problem is, but he's not making any plays. Okay, Paris Campbell seems like a shell of himself. Like, where's the Paris Campbell I heard was going to get 600 yards and dominate and get all these jet sweeps? We're not even doing any jet sweeps. We're not moving anybody in motion. We're not getting anybody off the ball. The play has not changed at the line of scrimmage. They just run whatever's called. It is It is not sustainable to do that. I know the offensive line has troubles, and listen, there's no savior walking through that door. Nobody's coming. Anthony Munoz, Tony Baselli, Orlando Pace, name whatever Hall of Famer you want. They're not coming through that door. Your backups are your backups for a reason, and they're showing you as much. Okay, and let's get a little dog in us. Let's get a little fight. This team has no fight anymore. Like they had fight last year. This year it's like, oh, we're okay being down. I told you going down to this team was not good. You couldn't do that. You could do that against the Cardinals because they stink. And watch on Sunday when they get their ass kicked by the Cowboys, you'll see what I'm saying. You'll see what I'm saying. This is the moment you need to rise up. Your star players have to come up and play regardless of situation. And we can get into the offensive line in a minute. Last thing I'll say, Brian Dable, why you call him 3 timeouts? And then putting Tyrod Taylor in the game. What was that about? That you need to call 3 timeouts to put him in the game? Like, what was that at the end of the game? Just let the clock run out. You're losing. You're not going to do anything. So don't need to call the timeouts at the end of the game to waste them. And not only waste them, but then take your quarterback out of the game, which you didn't do in the first game, and you got backlash for it. So you're going to call 3 timeouts and not leave this guy in the game to get more continuity. But you leave him in the game in the first game. I don't understand that. I'm done, Mac. I'm done. I can't talk anymore about
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to try to repeat too much of what you said because it was. I mean, I'm basically right there with you for pretty much most of it. Obviously, Coach Brian Dable coaching right now is driving me up the wall right now because some of the decisions are just downright stupid. Like you just said, you look, he was under some duress in this game. He definitely was. Most of the game, he was under fire for most of the game. But he wasn't getting lit up like he was against in the Dallas game. Obviously, he wasn't getting completely beat up like he was in the Dallas game. But he was under heavy pressure. He was just having to get the ball out very quickly. Okay, get that. But so like you said, why you take him out of this game? But in the game against Dallas, you leave him in there to just get feasted on the way he was.
right.
He got sacked 7 times in that game.
Right.
Like enough was enough in that game, but in this game you leave him in there. You take him out of this. This is the one you decide. Go sit you down now, Daniel. At the end of the game, like make it make sense. But also, it's just before I don't even want to get to the defense yet. Hold on. But this offense, man, this offensive line, you got to do some soul searching, coaches, man. Look, the Shane Lemieux experiment, it's over with. It's done. Forget about it. Get his ass out of the building. That guy is not serviceable as a backup offensive lineman. He's not serviceable as a starting offensive lineman. He's just not serviceable. So get him out of the building. I'm tired of that experiment. I'm tired of let's give Shane Lemieux another shot. Let's keep giving Shane Lemieux another shot. Why? Every opportunity he gets, he stinks. He stinks. I might as well be out there. Like I said, I try to always find some form of positives, and it was hard in this one. Very, 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 very difficult. I look at this offensive line, and it's been so bad for so long. But I look at a young man like the right guard, Marcus McKeithen. I look at Joshua Zudu out there playing left tackle. Was it great? Obviously not.
Better than Evan Neal.
But you kind of see it. But you see a few things where it's like maybe we can work with these guys going forward. At least these guys showed you something that maybe we can get these guys developed into very pretty decent, solid, good offensive linemen. Starting caliber. It's good to say Mark McKeithen is going to be the starting right guard for the rest of the season. It looks like Glowinski's not getting that spot back. You know what I mean? So he's pretty much looks like he's going to be the starting guy, and I think he kind of deserves it. He's come in, started 2 games, and he's played better than Glowinski did. And he played a lot better than Glowinski has. So why not keep this young guy out there and see what he can do and see how he can keep evolving? JMS. He didn't actually have that bad of a game at all. He actually was probably the best of the offensive linemen last night. Honestly, the rookie center. I went on my thing after further review. I did my video earlier today, and I felt like this is the offensive line. We should start maybe looking at this as you find your best 5 guys, and Andrew Thomas obviously is our best guy. JMS the center, and then I like McKeithen in the right guard spot right now. I'm feeling all right with him going forward to trying to develop this young man. But then Joshua Azudu, to me, is showing me a more competent offensive tackle than what Evan Neal has shown. So maybe,
But you're not taking him off.
we start working that guy over. I feel like we start working that guy to the right side, and then Evan Neal, kick him in at guard, man. If it's on the left side with Andrew Thomas, whatever. And then maybe that's your best five, and that's the best. What I mean, you gotta start looking at it from that perspective right now, New York Giants, because this offensive line thing, it's not working at all. And you got to figure out something to work and figure out and get a group of guys in there that can grow together, develop together, and become something decent. Because look, Daniel Jones, like I said, is an average guy, but you can win with an average guy, but you got to have the other guys doing their damn job too. When you got an average guy back there, you got to have the other guys doing their job. That takes me to the damn playmakers last night, because there were no plays getting made by the playmakers last night. Darren Waller, I get it. The passes ain't going to always come out perfect, especially when they're coming out that quickly and he's under the kind of pressure he's under and he's just getting them out quick as hell. Sure, that one pass was high as shit. It was. But given the situation and the time at that point in the game, you got to make a play, man. You got to make a play. That was one of the big differences in this game. You got on the 49ers side, you got guys making plays for their quarterbacks. Who's making the plays over here, man? Who's stepping up and saying, you know what? I'm going to go up and grab that thing regardless. I'm going to be that, like you just said, dog. I'm going to go get that shit. Who is that guy? We don't have that guy on this team. It seems like nobody's invested enough to want to go out there and make shit happen. Sometimes you just got to make it happen. Like I said, Daniel Jones throws his fourth interception of the season. Well, 3 of these interceptions have bounced off of his goddamn receiver's hands. That's not acceptable. That's letting your guy down. You got to make plays at some point. He's not perfect. He's not great. But like I said, you can win with an average guy like that. But everybody else got to be doing their job too. This offensive line, the playmakers, everything. Coaches. This game didn't get away from us until the second half, truthfully. It didn't truly get away from us until the second half. Why are there only 11 running plays on the books? Why? Why is that? Why do we abandon the run game completely in this game and just started dropping Daniel Jones back every damn time, making this offense one-dimensional, making it easier for the 49ers to feast on us? Why? Why are we making it easier for a team like that? Make it make sense to me. Matt Breida, honestly, with his little 4 carries that he had, it wasn't, who knows, it wasn't that bad, but he only got 4 carries. How the hell is he your starting running back going into this game and only gets 4 carries? 11 carries total for the team. For the team. That's all they could record. It was 11 carries because he just went away from the run game, which, by the way, can only help, slow down that 49er pass rush, which I guess you didn't seem to be wanting to care about doing because you just let it get. We're going to stop running. We're going to keep dropping Daniel Jones back. That's insane to me. It's ridiculous, man. And then let's go to the defense, man. Let's get to this defense. This defense. I will tell you. Does anybody want to tackle anybody on this defense, man? Oh, I know. One guy wanted to tackle people last night because he's one guy that did show up on defense last night. I got to give him props because I'm not going to sit here and while I'm calling this whole defense out, he's not included because he was balling last night. Young man Micah McFadden was all over the field. He was the only defensive player that showed up last night with an interest in wanting to stop some goddamn body. That was it. Kayvon Thibodeau, you got a sack. He got the first sack of the season. So what? Make some more plays. Do more than that. You did nothing else the rest of the game. You made that 1 sack in the first quarter, and that was it. Disappeared, vanished, gone, forgot you were out there the rest of the game. This is ridiculous. Dexter Lawrence, what you signed that big contract for, bro? You had the big year last year, signed a big contract. Barely even know you out there, man. What is going on? And Xavier McKinney. I can't take another week of you getting embarrassed by somebody on the other team. I can't take another week of that. First, Joshua Dodge runs you over into the end zone against Arizona when you're going against Arizona. Then George Kittle just mushed you all over the fucking sideline last night with the stiff arm, with the big stiff arms, as he just ran right through your weak attempt at tackling him. Like, I can't with this defense right now, man. I absolutely can't. And then I don't know. I haven't heard anything more about Banks' injury, whatever happened to him, where he missed the whole second half, and we had to play Darnay Holmes, who we know that's never really a great thing. So, Adam, man, this team, man, this defense and the miscues, you can't make those mistakes when you're playing against a good team. You can't make those kind of mistakes when you play against a good team and expect to win. That's never going to get it done. You can't make those kind of mistakes against hardly anybody and expect to win, let alone a good team like the 49ers. At home, in their home opener. That team was fired up. Deebo Samuel showed the New York Giants defense why his name is Deebo. That's exactly what he did last night. Yeah, it was good for my fantasy team. Wasn't good for my New York Giants though.
Yeah, it's this what we talk about, right? We came here, we had high expectations for the season. We are not near the don't worry, I can tell you he's average, but that's okay. This is where these big teams outdo us because they're on a different level. They're thinking 2 steps ahead, right? That's what the 49ers do. They don't have to play their A game in the first half to be up a lead. And then in the second half, you just let them take over, right? I mean, there was plays to be made, and I was hoping to get a better performance out of the quarterback, a better performance out of the defense. I can't look past 441 yards. 441 yards. Probably the worst defensive yardage total in a while. Now, I know people are saying we're going to beat Seattle. I think they might beat Seattle next week, but Seattle scores points, and we can't stop a nosebleed. And we are letting Deebo Samuel, they're going to have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf running up and down the field on us. It's a primetime game where we do not play well in. I don't care what anybody says. It is now a trend right now, okay? It is a trend. We stink at prime time. The NFL is probably saying, what the hell do we put this crappy team on prime time for? The 2 primetime games we play have been complete duds, okay? I mean, this team is just, it's frustrating, this whole team. And you know what really the problem is, I think? And I was listening to Twitter Spaces today, and this is not always a great thing, but they were bringing. I got to go into space.
That is.
What?
I said, I don't know how healthy that is, but
anywho, I'm in the space. I'm talking, and I figured out that the team, like they're talking about Joe Shane. Should we have some blame and all this? And I said the problem with the Giants is they don't know if they're rebuilding. They don't know if they're trying to compete. And right now, when you do that and you try to compete and rebuild, this is the product you get. You get guys that you're just trying to patchwork in as you build because you're like, let's compete as we build. What they should have done was just tear it down. If that meant get rid of Daniel Jones and Barkley, whatever, tear it down. Because I feel like this team knows more about losing than they know about winning. And even though they won games last year, they basically had to play their best football in order to do it and make mistakes. And the Giants are the ones making the mistakes. The Giants are getting penalized. The Giants are giving up sacks. The Giants are turning the ball over. Okay? That's what they're doing that the other teams aren't. And when you do that, like Seattle, they're not just going to give you the football, right? This could be a game that gets out of hand because we don't tackle well. We don't, cover well. We don't do anything well on defense. Not one thing. And how about step up? I know that Leonard Williams had a sack, but then what happened to you? You were too busy trying to yell at that guy who you got a penalty for, whatever the heck you were talking shit about, to not win the game. Like, if I'm a Giant, I'm pissed off. I want somebody kicking something in the locker room. I need somebody pointing out something because the entire team stinks. The whole team stinks. Whether the offense has to call it defense, the defense has to call it the offense, somebody needs to kick somebody in the ass. Because guess what? The month of October is make or break for the rest of this season. Okay, make or break. Okay, if they don't get you play Buffalo, you play Miami, you play Seattle. All right, and I think the Commanders are sprinkled in there, and the Jets. Okay, you got some tough defenses coming up in this next stretch. You've got to be able to tackle. You've got to be able to put pressure on the quarterback, and you've got to be able to score points.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You gotta be able to do every single one of those things. I'm looking down here, looking at these stats from last night, and it's gonna keep bothering me because I'm looking at Elijah Mitchell, the number 2 running back for the San Francisco 49ers. He got 11 carries. He got 11 carries. While the New York Giants team in total ran the ball 11 times. The backup running back for San Fran carried the ball 11 times. Yet the New York Giants in total ran the ball 11 times as a team. Give me a break. How is that a recipe for success? How is that a recipe for success? Jalen Hyatt. What do we got? What did we draft this kid to take the tops off of defenses, man? So why is he out on the? Why is he barely on the field? What do we not know? What is the reason? What is the reason for his lack of playing time last night? Because I can't understand it. What's the reason for it?
Sterling Shepard. What are we doing with Sterling Shepard? Standing on the sideline dancing? It doesn't do anything. Darius Slayton, I'm over you, bro.
I don't understand. That's another thing.
I'm over you. I'm putting Jalen. That's
another thing I don't understand is Sterling Shepard. I'm glad you brought that name up. Sterling Shepard. Look, we know what Sterling Shepard is at least. And he's a competent receiver when he's healthy and on the field. So why is he not on the field? He's healthy. Put him on the field. I mean, while he's healthy, before he gets hurt, running out the locker room at practice or something. Put him on the field while he's healthy and get some production out of him. Like, I mean, what is going on? Like, I don't understand the lack of playing time he's getting either. Like, I can't figure it out.
Where's Daniel Bellinger?
And another thing, I thought we were going to get a lot more 12 personnel, a lot of stuff like that. But I don't get it, man. I don't get it, and that's exactly what what Logan's saying right here. When healthy and playing, Shepard is a number 2. I mean, he's a number 2 receiver in the league. Period. That's not just on the New York Giants in general. That's the talent level he has to be pretty much a competent number 2 receiver.
Jalen Hyatt,
and I don't understand the lack of playing time.
Wan'Dale Robinson.
Wait, what you say?
Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, Isaiah Hodges. Those are the 3 guys who want on the field. Okay? And Sterling Shepard. Those 4 guys. Give me those 4 guys. I don't need to see any more Darius Slayton. Goodbye. You don't do anything. You drop passes. You can't run routes. You don't get any separation. Okay? You're not that great. You're just not. You know, Daniel, I don't know if it's because we stink, but we can't get into any offensive rhythm. And I knew this was going to happen. Why? Because you can't run the grinded out plays that they did last year, right? Where you're grinding out, throwing for 5 yards. People know how to defend that. You have to now show them that you can go deep downfield. And right now, they have no threat. That no one's worried about this team. I told you Saquon Barkley is the best player on this team, right? That's why when he's out there, they don't need to worry about nothing. The 49ers had nothing to worry about. They knew the Giants couldn't do anything. They knew that if they stopped Daniel Jones from running, which they did, and they contained the running game, they'd win the game. They didn't have to do much on defense. They didn't have to do much. It wasn't disguising much. They brought some pressure. They did, but it wasn't like it couldn't have been dealt with, right? Some of the Giants picked it up. There's running backs in there picking it up, but, they have Nick Bosa. They have, Javon Hargrave. These guys are relentless, so they keep coming. But it's not like they couldn't have made plays. And some of the offensive choices was bad. The worst part about this team is Jamie Gillian is the best player on the team right now. That's terrible. And that's terrible. But I've said enough. I'm done with this game.
Yeah, I mean, he had some. He did definitely have some incredible punts.
We had a defense.
Unfortunately, that has to be the highlight of the night. Oh, our kicker get the 57-yard field goal. Another highlight. Good way to go, Graham Gano. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I got you on the fantasy team as well. That's all I can take away from this game is what I got in fantasy. is my fan is I started Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Debo Samuel last night in one of my lineups. That's how much I thought of my New York Giants defense. And thank you, because those guys rewarded me mightily with all of them having big nights. So I'm up to a good start in fantasy this week because of those three gentlemen. So thank you very much for that, New York Giants. Get y'all life together, man, because this is just ridiculous. As grown ass
Doesn't get
men,
any
you should
easier.
just take more pride in what you do. Take more pride in what you do as grown ass men. And the leaders of this football team, the captains, where you guys at? Dexter Lawrence, Bobby Okereke, Darren Waller, Xavier McKinney. Some of you guys are the biggest disappointments right now. The ones that got the C's on y'all chest. Y'all are some of the biggest disappointments right now. I don't understand it. I can't figure it out. Why does every week there's like one guy show up on defense? One guy decides I want to play tonight, and the rest of them just kind of just like going through the motions. Like I said, Micah McFadden, I feel bad. He went out there, he balled out. He had a hell of a game. Yeah, I mean, he had a hell of a game. But why couldn't anybody else bring that energy, man? If a couple other guys could have brought what Micah McFadden was bringing last night, I mean, things like that could change the game. And then, like you also mentioned about the potential turnovers, At what point is somebody going to step up and make a damn play? Brock Purdy threw some suspect passes in the early part of this game, man, in the first quarter of this game, especially. He was throwing some suspect passes out there, bro, putting some shit out there that we should have been, taking advantage of. But of course, not this defense. Not this defense, man. It's just disappointing as a fan. And it's disappointing as a fan. And like I was saying about the Kayvon Thibodeau comments, man, as a fan, we reserve the right to boo your ass when we feel like it if you're not doing your job. That's why we're fans. Because you get paid multi-millions of dollars and I get paid dilly shit. And I'm spending my little bit of fucking pennies to see you play. And that's for the shit you give me. So we reserve the right to boo your ass when we feel like booing your ass. Do your fucking job. How about that? Do your job.
Look at those eyes. I love it. I love it. Those intents in those eyes. Mac couldn't have said it any better. But I'm done with this disgusting game. I'm looking forward to having a Sunday to recoup and enjoy football as a fan of a team not playing.
Yeah, speaking of Sunday, man, how are you feeling about some of these matchups Sunday? Anything jumping off the page at you, brother?
Oh, there's a ton of games that I'm looking forward to. First off, I want to see Minnesota versus Los Angeles Chargers. I know that sounds weird, but they're both 0-2. The NFL. This is no one makes the playoffs at 0-3, right? No one makes the playoffs there. So that's a game I want to see. And Herbert's had a good season. His team, his coach has been terrible. You can't blame him for their loss. A couple other games I like to look at is I want to see Buffalo, Washington. Buffalo's 1-1. Washington's 2-0. Sunday afternoon at FedEx Field in Washington. Are the Washington Commanders real? Will they pull off this upset? Can they? At least it's an upset in my eyes. Can they knock off the Buffalo Bills? Will Josh Allen give the Commanders a chance? And then, I'm not going to get into every 1 o'clock game, but some of the 4 o'clock games I'm looking forward to is, I'm not interested in Dallas, Arizona, Carolina, and Seattle. I'd like to know what that does. I'm not even interested in Chicago and in Kansas City, but Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday Night Football, that's going to be good. Actually, some of the 1 o'clock mark games are a lot better than this. Like, do we really think that? Never mind. We can discuss them as we go. But those are some of the games I like to highlight as well. Any one stand out to you, man? Any games?
Well, I'm a little interested. Actually, it's gonna surprise you a little bit here, but that Falcons Lions game, man. Just want to see who the Falcons really are. I think this will be a real true test to see what the Atlanta Falcons are. The 2-0 Atlanta
If they beat
Falcons.
the Lions, what should we be thinking about the Falcons?
I was thinking that they're legit if they can go out there and beat the Detroit Lions. I think that's exactly what I'm getting at there. If they can go out there and beat the Detroit Lions, that's telling me something. I mean, you see, they got by Green Bay. They beat what Carolina, I think, week 1. But
Wow.
this right here, this definitely is the biggest is their toughest test to date in this season. Will be their toughest test, and this will let me know what the Atlanta Falcons really are or are not. Another game like that that's kind of similar to that in that same mold is the Buccaneers and the Eagles on Monday night, man.
Yes.
That's another one. Two in the battle of two teams, both 2-0. I mean, we pretty much feel like we know what the Eagles are. Legitimately, a very good football team, but I'm not sure if St. Brown is out deal. I haven't heard if he was going to actually miss the game or not. But I have to look into that. The Eagles and the Bucks. I mean, the Buccaneers have been playing pretty inspired football these first couple weeks. Baker Mayfield looking like he is really trying to revitalize his career and get a new contract with somebody, get some sustainability, and become a legit starter in this league again. See how he looks against the Philadelphia Eagle team that's going to be getting after his ass. I mean, let's face it, they're going to get after him. So let's see. I'm curious to see how that game's going to shape out. And I want to see if Kenny Pickett can work his way out of his little funk he's been in, man. Because I expected much better things from Kenny Pickett this Pittsburgh, man. It's been disappointing through the first couple of weeks of the season with this young man. So I'd like to really see him try to work his way out of the rut that he's been in, and see if he can battle back against what they most consider as a pretty bad Raiders football team. See if he can get things figured out. But
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
and
I
just
mean,
continue to see some of these rookies growth too. Like Texans, Jaguars. I mean, C.J. Stroud, he played pretty decent last week, even in defeat. So I just want to see if their evolution of these rookie guys continuing to get better. It's a shame Anthony Richardson's going to be out and miss this week against who were they playing against Baltimore. But I would have been fun to see Anthony Richardson and Lamar battling it out, man.
well,
But
that would have been marquee.
unfortunately, we won't get that. But I mean, it's some other it's some good things, man.
I mean,
Anything else you want to dive deeper into? I was going to say, yeah.
well, the game, like you've said most of the stuff that you're interested in. I'm also intrigued by the Green Bay game. New Orleans, Green Bay, New Orleans 2-0, Green Bay 1-1. Is Jordan Love a guy who we should be taking seriously, right? Leaning on him being, well, he leads the NFL in touchdown passes. That doesn't mean much now, but again, I mean, we're 2 games in and he has 6 touchdowns. I mean, that's a lot for a couple of games. That's 3 a game right now. So can he continue that? New Orleans has a good defense. Will they? What New Orleans team is going to show up? They didn't really. I wouldn't say they struggled, but they had a hard time against the Panthers in that game, and they're trying to get their legs. Are they for real? Is Green Bay going to be fighting for it? Because you look at the Atlanta Detroit game, and you look at the Green Bay New Orleans game, right? Both playing AFC NFC South teams. These games could determine who wins that division, right? If Green Bay beats New Orleans and Detroit loses to Atlanta, Green Bay has the advantage right now, not just because in the win column, but in the South. So these games are becoming critical because there's those 2 teams are the same record. They could be fighting for the division. Tampa Bay, I really want to find out what they are, man. I'm kind of excited to see that game. They're kind of my upset special of the week. Like they're the upset team. I know people may not like it. I know I have some friends that are Eagle fans that may not like it, and I'm not saying Tampa Bay will be 3-0, but Baker Mayfield's playing well enough for them to win. And they have some skill players. Mike Evans is that guy. You want to talk about playmakers, right? Mike Evans is one of the best playmakers in the league. Now I don't
Absolutely.
advocate getting him right now because he's aging on a contract. So I'd rather just go in the draft and get a guy here. I know people are like, oh, why don't we get Mike Evans at the end of free agency? I'm like, no. Let him go to a contender. Let him go to a team that's going to one receiver away from going to the Super Bowl. He doesn't want to come here and build with us, But that allows if he plays well and the Eagles who are banged up in the secondary, you never know, man. You never know. That Tampa Bay defense is not bad. It's not like the greatest defense, but they're flying around. They're making plays.
Yeah, absolutely they do. And another doubleheader on Monday night, man. Rams and Bengals. I don't know. If Joe Burrow, I guess, is out for this game.
Another doubleheader.
And the Rams, interesting team, man. Through the first couple. I mean, people thought the Rams were going to be a pretty bad football team, and I mean, they 1-1. They lost to the 49ers, obviously, in week two, but they were competitive for most of that game. They were very competitive most of the game. Definitely more competitive than the New York Giants were last night with the 49ers. So. And they got this receiver, man, with a fifth round pick, I believe, fourth or fifth round pick,
Puka
came out of
Nakua.
kind of out of nowhere. That's turning into a star, leading the league in receiving. As a matter of fact, right now,
BYU
at
minus.
least with receptions. I mean, you think how you feeling about the Rams right now?
I feel that they're not a gimme game on the Giants' schedule anymore. I think they're that type of team. I don't know if they're going to be overly great, but they could be a little further ahead than we think, right? Matthew Stafford is that guy at quarterback. He does outdo you. Did he have a bad game against the 49ers? Who doesn't have a bad game against the 49ers? They still put up 23 points. They were in that game against the 49ers till the end, basically. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and win their game on Sunday. Excuse me, on Monday.
On Monday.
Sorry, Monday. Pardon me. Against Cincinnati, who, by the way, this is it. If Cincinnati loses this game to the Rams, kiss good night the lights for them. There's, Joe Burrow at that point. Let him on the bench or whatever. Like, let him heal his calf because it's never going to be right. You're sitting on the sideline using a massage thing. I'm worried you're going to blow your Achilles out. Like, put him on IR if you have to, if for a few weeks if you lose this game, because at that point you're on 3. What are you going to do? Like, you're not making the playoffs. The LA Rams are in a conference where they can make the playoff. I mean, the Giants made the playoffs last year, right? Well, what does it say? The Rams can't get hot and win a few games and steal one of those spots. You know,
I mean, anything is definitely possible. I mean, it's pretty obvious out in that division. It's like it's the 49ers division to win, but Seattle is definitely a tough out as well. And
yeah,
who
they got three
knows?
teams over there. They got 3 teams that are going to be fighting. I feel
Who knows?
like
Yeah, the Rams could be like the Giants from a year ago. You absolutely right. That's a good call, Adam. That they kind of almost remind you where they're kind of already even right now, the early part of this year. You see them overachieving, looking like they're playing, beyond what you expect them to be able to. They like Deala is saying, man. They don't even have Cooper Cup in the lineup yet, man. You know the level of receiver that he is. So that would
the
just add an
defense is
extra
playing
dimension to
well.
their another dimension to that offense, man. Whenever he comes back healthy, and like you say, yeah, the defense is playing good, solid football. Went up to Seattle week one and got that big win up. And that Seattle's not an easy place to go play, and they went up and got
And
the
they
job done
they
up
wait,
there.
they held that offense of Seattle to 13 points. And they made Geno Smith
Absolutely,
look mortal, right? Because then Geno Smith goes up against the Detroit Lions the next week and throws for 300 yards and 37 points they put on the board. So, you got to think. And like I said, against the 49ers, they gave up 30 points, but there was 2 interceptions in that game that were, helped give those points away. Otherwise, it's a closer game than it looks, right? So I really feel the Rams are one of those sleeper teams that you can't sleep on them, especially with that receiver. Puka Nakua, let's talk about him for a minute, right? How the entire NFL missed on this guy. He came from BYU, obviously not a school that has a lot of huge talent that comes out. And here he goes, Sean McVay again. They find these gems. This is what good teams do. They find the gems that work out. Like, we find fifth round picks that end up being Shane Lemieux. They find fifth round picks that end up being Puka Nakua. Okay, that's what they do. They have I don't know what it's with their scouting department. I have no idea, right? But it's called, I guess, doing your due diligence. This kid is coming in and he's doing things that Odell Beckham Jr. type things, where he's shattering records. And I'm all for it. I'm all for a great story, and I hope he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I hope he goes on to start having a good career and becomes one of the Rams' leading receivers, right, of all time, right? I want to annoy him, but wouldn't it be a great story? And he's playing with a
Would
great quarterback who I absolutely adore, Matthew Stafford. I think he's a good player that gets underrated, gets a little bit beat up here and there. But if he can stay healthy, he's gonna give that team a chance in every game. And Aaron Donald, last I checked, he's still on the Rams and he still gets triple teamed and still makes plays. So, you know, I'm interested to see what they do. I really kind of hoping they beat Cincinnati, even though I like Cincinnati. You people know that Cincinnati is my second favorite team. But at this point, Cincinnati, just be the Bengals this year, regroup, come back next year stronger and better.
I mean, 15 catches for 147 yards in your second NFL game. I mean, look, that dude's he's setting bars, man. He's setting the bar very, very high, man. Like you said, it's very early, obviously, in the year, but right now, he's the clear front runner right now for the offensive rookie of the year because there ain't no rookie producing the way this kid is right now. I mean, if he can sustain that in any degree, man, he's gonna have one hell of a year, man. And it's good to see stories like that. Just as a football fan, I like to see stories like this, the underdog stories, man. These guys that nobody expected anything from. You drafted in the fifth round, you're barely expected to even make the team, let alone come out and have an impact the way this young man is. So,
At
hats
at
off
a
to him, man.
BYU, we're not talking about like a Power Five team or anything like that. We're talking about BYU Mormons. Okay, these people go on Mormon missions for like 2 years where they don't play football. They're out, worshiping the good Lord, which is great. But it's not like they produce powerhouses. I mean, they had Zach Wilson, and the last really major guy you saw at BYU, I think, was Steve Young coming out of BYU. So they don't really, um, they don't really have any. Like he shouldn't be. He put it to you this way: he shouldn't be doing what he's doing, and he's doing something that's incredible right now. Things like that. Think about that. If he goes on to break some of the records, because I think Odell has like the rookie receiving record. I could be wrong, but
I think you're right. I think he does.
I think he has that. He didn't start out as hot as Nakua did, right? He didn't have the two back-to-back 100-yard games, but I think Jefferson broke the rookie record this year. I think that he might have broken it. Maybe Jamar Chase. Either way, he's on one of those rises, and it's good to see. It's good to see guys in the fifth round doing well because again, the league is made up of lot more of these guys than you think. Okay, they really are because you get multiple fourth, fifth, sixth round picks because you trade them for a bag of groceries, right? So you're going to see a lot of these players. So it's a good story, and one of those things, like Max said, let's follow him throughout the NFL and see where it takes us, right? Brees Hall, he was one of those guys last year that I wanted to watch, and obviously, unfortunately, got injured. This is a guy I would love for him to play the Giants, against the Rams because I would like to see greatness go up against it. I want to see you at great strength, and I want to see the best talent. As a football fan, I'm a Giant fan, but I'm an NFL fan first, and I like to see good games, and I like to see good talent, and I like to see guys get rewarded for what they do.
Right quick in the chat, just because I like to do this. Both of you guys are just dancing around the number. Odell Beckham, his rookie season, missed the first 4 games of the season. His debut was game week number 5 against the Atlanta Falcons. He went out and scored a touchdown,
Yes,
had a couple big catches,
42 yards,
and
42
then after
yards.
that, just took off and ascended to what he became.
Oh my God,
So yeah, he
I
missed the
love.
first
Listen,
4 games of his rookie season.
I used to love watching that guy. I was like, he was made. He was appointment television, bro. It was like I don't care how bad the Giants are. We got 13 out there. Something's about to happen. And those are the type of players that the Giants get when they have down years. They never really get those type of players when they're winning Super Bowls, right? So it's about time to kind of we need to start developing players like that. Start to get a number one. I really think I thought Darren Waller was going to be a number one, but honestly, I think a number one receiver really changes your offense. It really brings another dimension to the table. Not just having a one option like Waller is, but actually having a true number one. Like, while
Yeah,
I like Travis Kelsey, Tyreek Hill helped out Travis Kelsey a lot as well, too, because people had to account for him more so than like Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey, you can bracket, and he's a phenomenal athlete, right? But George Kittle if he doesn't have Debo Samuel there, he's not doing George Kittley things, right? He gets to do that because Debo Samuel is that dude. He's that guy. And I do believe the Giants need to find a number one, a true number one, because if you look around the league, they do change the dynamic of an offense. You know, DeAndre Hopkins wins games for Tennessee. On Brown and Devontae Smith single handedly take games over. Garrett Wilson, you know, you know, I'm just saying.
I don't know about that. I don't. I'm not down with the tanking, man. But at the end of the day, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. could potentially be the kind of
Listen,
receiver
you want him?
that
Go
we
trade up and
talking
get him.
about.
If we're 2-7, we're having a fire
But
sale. We're getting rid of guys like Leonard Williams. We're getting rid of guys on their Dory Jackson. Like, if I'm the Giants, I'm calling up the Cowboys. I'm like, well, how much do you want for a Dory Jackson? What are you willing to give us? You know, I'm not worried about
not
Devontae
the
Smith not being a
Cowboys.
Giant.
Not
I
trading
can
them
live
within
with
the
that.
division.
I can live with that. I can't live with Micah Parsons, who was there for the taking, and we traded out.
Hey, well, yeah, because Devontae Smith, man, the Eagles just outsmarted us and got jumped in front of us and got him. So it wasn't nothing we could do about that. We didn't even we didn't really have a chance. We didn't have a legitimate chance at him because the Eagles jumped in front of us. Micah Parsons was sitting right there with the New York Giants on the board, and we traded the pick away, trade back to pick number 20. And yeah, the rest is Cowboys grab Micah Parsons. We get Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney now plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Just
Do you
ended
want to
with
pick
that.
some of these games? You want to go down the list and see
Yeah,
who?
we can go ahead. We can just run them down real quick. I mean, like we normally do before we get ready to close out.
Let me get the a piece of paper, or in this case, the Microsoft Word out. And no, I don't want my damn document. You know what's happening? Just so we can have. Oh my god! You know, you put your computer. They never just let you do what you need to do, right? They always got to give you questions on top of questions. So let me just get a notepad out. Here we go. And I'm just going to put our names down. If Zion happens to get here by the time we do this, we can also put his on here. And then let me do AC. Okay, so, and I just want to make sure. Let me spread this out here. Sorry, folks. Live television, this is what you do. So, the
You
first
faded from the
game
top.
on the
Okay.
docket is Indianapolis, Baltimore. Who do you have? Indianapolis 1-1. Not sure if Anthony Richardson's playing. Might be Garner
He's not. He's
Minshew.
already been ruled out. He's already been ruled out.
Okay, so Garner Minshew is the guy there. Do you think he can overcome the Baltimore Ravens, who are 2-0?
No,
So you're picking the
I do
Ravens.
not. I'm picking Baltimore.
And I will pick the Ravens as well. I'll just put Ravens here. Okay, next game is versus Tennessee versus the Browns. Who do you have?
Ooh, this is a tricky. I like Tennessee here, man. I think the first week without Nick Chubb is gonna affect Cleveland's ability to do what they do best. And I think Tennessee takes advantage of it. Ryan Tannehill coming off a big week, and I know how good Miles Garrett and this Cleveland Brown defense can be, but I think Tannehill savvy enough vet to figure out a way to take advantage of some things. Derrick Henry has a big game, and I think that Tennessee wins this one, brother.
All right, Tennessee. So I'll put you down for Tennessee. I as well am going to pick Tennessee, not necessarily for the same reasons you did, but for the fact that what the Browns are going through this week as well. You know, with Nick Chubb being out, trying to acclimate a new running back. I just think Deshaun Watson is struggling. I just think this is a game right here that Tennessee is going to bounce back and play well. So I also have Tennessee Titans. Let me just write that down.
Yeah, now like also like you just said, like the other just said up here in the chat, the Watson is just not looking like the same guy, which just proves that point, man. All that time off is not healthy. You just can't have that
Well,
much time off, man, in your career. I
he
feel
looks
like,
like he doesn't care anymore. That's what it looks like, to be honest. Like he doesn't give
I
a shit.
mean,
But he got paid all that money. He doesn't need to do anything anymore, right? I mean, has he elevated the Browns the way he used to elevate Houston? I don't see it. And they don't. It's not like they have a booty ass team over there. They have some decent talent. Anyways, moving right along. The next game, Atlanta Falcons against the Detroit Lions in Detroit, Ford Field here. Got Desmond Ritter, who came off a solid game last week. You have the Lions, who lost in overtime against Seattle. Who are you picking here and why?
I'm picking Detroit, man. I think Detroit's coming off of a tough loss a week ago in overtime to Seattle, man. And I think they're gonna get back to business as usual, man. I think this Falcons team has shown some promising signs the first couple of weeks, but I don't think they have quite enough to handle with Detroit's offensive firepower, man. I think they're not going to be able to keep up with the way Detroit can put points on the board. And even if Amon Ross St. Brown doesn't play, I think Detroit still has other weapons that can just keep this thing going. And Detroit's defense is looking pretty sneaky good, even though they gave up a lot of points when we go to Seattle. But something about those two teams playing each other anyway, where it's just always a marathon, apparently. So I think
Well,
Detroit wins this one.
here's where I'm going to be a little fun with it. I haven't picked this team all year, and so probably picking them means they're going to lose. But I'm going to pick the Atlanta Falcons with B. John Robinson and Desmond Ritter, and they do the upset at Ford Field, and they tell us to put some respect on that name as the Falcons upset the Lions.
The Falcons go 3-0, man. That's going to open some eyes. That's for sure.
Listen, I mean, we can't laugh at them, man. It's crazy to think the Atlanta Falcons, this season, who didn't play much in the preseason, right? We were like, oh, they didn't play the preseason, they're gonna stink. And here they are. They draft the best running back in the draft, and they're now 2-0 because of his efforts and their quarterback playing competently. So where were we? I picked the Falcons. You picked the Lions. Next game up is New Orleans, Green Bay. Who are you picking here? Any particular team?
Damn, this is another one of those. Another one of that wasn't easy to call. This one, man. Two teams that to me are both kind of playing the same level of football, man.
New
I
Orleans
go
is
with
still
Green
rough.
Bay here, man. I get it, but it's not the prettiest 2-0 in the world, and I'll go with Green Bay here, man. I think at home in Green Bay, New Orleans not quite the same team when they're outdoors, and I don't. It's just no real other rhyme. And Jordan Love playing. I mean, I don't think he's playing as great as people were making his team, but he's playing solid. He's not making the huge mistakes, obviously. But I'll go with Green Bay here.
I'm going to go with New Orleans because their defense is underrated, and I think people are going to find out how good they are this week. I think I saw a stat today that they hold opponents on the road to 18 points when they're on the road in someone else's building. So that's kind of interesting. And they have some offensive weapons out there. Chris Olave and Derek Carr seem to be hitting their stride. So I think we'll see how good they are against this Green Bay, who has struggled at times.
But you are correct. Saints defense is probably one of the most underrated units in the league. Honestly, that's a very good unit. Oh, that very good defense they have down in New Orleans, and I think that's what's going to get them the division title when it's all said and done. But
So here's a game that's intriguing but not intriguing. It's Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Why do I say it's intriguing? Well, it's intriguing because the storyline of CJ Stroud, obviously, and then you have Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, the up and coming quarterback here. I think this game's going to be fun to watch. I think we're going to see a lot of maturity on both sides, but I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, for me, are going to win this game just because I think they have the better team. Last week they hit a buzzsaw. I don't think they were quite ready for the game that they played. I forget who they played last week. Let me go check that. Week 2. Can I go backwards? No.
they played the Chiefs last week.
Oh yeah, yes, they played the Chiefs. They played a tough game against the Chiefs. I think they bounced back. This is a game they need. Obviously, Tennessee is nipping at their heels right now at 1-1, so I think the Jacksonville Jaguars come through and win.
Hey,
All right.
sorry, I'm so late. I can tune in for the last 20 minutes, hopefully, of the show. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching and
Okay,
holding it down for me today,
we
guys.
will. I'm putting down Jacksonville. Mac, you make your pick on this game, and then we'll go back and re-get the games and get your team there, your teams there.
I like Jacksonville just for pretty much like you said. They're just I think just the talent is this is the one of those games where the talent's just going to be a little too much for the Houston Texans to handle. But I do like what I'm seeing the development of C.J. Stroud. Looking like he has the potential to become something pretty special in this league, but it's not quite there yet.
Okay, Zion, we will go from the top. Welcome to the show. Hope everything's going well with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so as Mac eloquently put it, Anthony Richardson will not be playing against Indianapolis, which would have been a great game. See Anthony Richardson versus Lamar Jackson, but it's Indianapolis versus Baltimore. Who are you taking in this game and why?
So Minshew's going to be starting. I don't think that he has the firepower to get it done against this Baltimore defense. So if Anthony Richardson was playing, even though he's a rookie, he brings that running effect, that mobile quarterback effect. And I don't think Minshew has that. So he's going to rely on his receivers. And I don't even think Jonathan Taylor is fully 100% yet. So that being said, I am going to go with Baltimore. I do want to point out, like I know Baltimore is down OBJ, but I just believe with the firepower that they do have, Mark Andrews didn't really have a game yet. So I can see Mark Andrews having a game. And of course, Zay Flowers continuing to do Zay Flowers things. And of course, that defense, you got to love it. I know they did lose their running back for the season, but they always operated as a running back by committee. So I believe they get the jump early on the Colts, and then they ride it out with the running game.
Okay, next game on the docket is Tennessee Cleveland.
Perfect.
Mac and I have both picked. I think we both picked Tennessee.
Tennessee, I'm going to actually go with Cleveland here, guys. I believe this is a get-right game for Deshaun. A lot of people have been dissing him. He's been looking like half of himself, half of what we've seen him on the Texans. I think this roster, Cleveland, got embarrassed. Everybody was talking about their defense, and then the Steelers' defense showed up. Always does in a division game, but I have the Cleveland Browns as still a top-notch defense, and Tennessee looks kind of sloppy to me.
Okay, the next game on the docket is Atlanta-Detroit. I picked Atlanta. Mac, I think he picked Detroit.
I'm going to ride with Atlanta. Atlanta's riding a hot hand right now, and their offense is going to be hard for Detroit to stop. But I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit was to pull off the victory at home, but I'm going to ride with Atlanta.
ATL going with Zion. New Orleans, Green Bay. I have New Orleans. Mac has Green Bay. Who are you taking?
Ooh, I like that Green Bay pick, Mac. It's hard for me not to pick against the Saints. Saints have a defense outside of the top 3 defenses. I believe they have a top 5 defense right now, so I'm going to ride with the defense of the Saints.
The Saints it is. Me and Zion are on the same page there.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to Jacksonville, Houston. Who's your team?
I think the Princess promised stumbles here. I had him winning last week. The team wasn't ready for the Chiefs, and I have D'Amico Ryan going out there and giving them a hard, tough game, and D'Amico Ryan getting his first win of the season against.
Wow! Upset special of the week.
Upset special
That'll
of
be
the
a
week.
big
Absolutely.
one. That'll be a big one.
That's why they call this show Premium Takes, because that's a premium take.
I gotta get a sound effect board, guys.
Okay, so now that brings us all back to Denver and Miami. Mac,
Perfect.
who do you have in this one?
Seriously.
Yes. I
don't think I had to give any reasons why.
I can't just assume you're going to pick Miami. You know what I mean? He's like, who do you think? Okay, oh sorry, forgot I was reading Denver, Miami.
Let's get it. What's up, Logan? Let's get it.
Denver, Miami.
This is a hard one. I'm going Miami all day, every day. I'm sorry, Miami. I love you, Sean Payton, but I don't think they can compete right now in Miami.
Oh well, so you pick Miami. I am going to pick Sean Payton. No, I'm not. I'm going to pick the Mike McDaniels and the Dolphins. Did you see how fast Mike McDaniels ran going into a halftime locker room.
Yes, I was thinking like, what the hell?
That's the reason why
that.
I'm picking the Dolphins. If you have a coach that could be that silly and that ridiculous, and he was doing that over the shoulder, like look over while he was running, like, are you catching me? A lot of fun right there. I think they keep it rolling, keep it going.
How's Eli Apple, the fruit? I love that guy.
Eli Apple, the fruit.
So
Eli
good.
Apple is playing better than we thought. So that's what Eli Apple's doing. Minnesota against the Chargers. Should be a fun game. Should be a scoring game. Mac, you want to go first here, and then I'll switch it up next time.
Which one of these two teams are going to get their first win? Wow.
It's going to end in a tie.
Let's go. What's up, Alex? Thank you for being here.
Oh man, this will be an offensive explosion. What's going on, Alex? This will be an offensive explosion, man.
Hi.
It should be. I don't see a lot of defense getting played in this one, man. Definitely take the over. But I like the Chargers here. I just think they're a little better. I think their defense is a little better than the Minnesota's defense, and I think that's going to be the difference in this game. I think they're going to be able to get a couple extra stops that the Vikes won't get.
LA Superchargers. So who are you taking there, Zion?
I'm going to agree with Mac. They got absolutely embarrassed week 1. They got finessed week 2. I don't know why. How does the Chargers lose against the Titans? I don't know. They just do. Okay. That being said, though, I have the Chargers taking the first victory here against the Minnesota Vikings, and Max said it perfectly. I don't believe in Minnesota's defense.
Minnesota's defense. Well, that leaves
I don't
me.
believe in the Chargers defense either. I just think it's a little better.
Yeah, true.
That's true. With my guy who's played well in the first 2 games of the year, and that's Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has thrown no interceptions. I think that continues on. Unfortunately, the reason why they lost a few of their games is because their coach stinks. He's not a very good coach. And, as much as I want the Chargers to win, part of me wants them to lose, so his ass gets fired. But if we're picking them straight up, I'm picking the LA Chargers. So that leaves one of the games that could be interesting. New England, Bill Belichick, New England Patriots facing an 0-3 start against the New York Jets. Zion, I'll start with you.
Yes. Let me just put this down real fast and turn on my mic. Robert Saleh, you have a defense and you have an offense. Besides that offensive line that is ready to compete for the championship this year, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to get your ass out there and you need to call some quarterbacks. Now, I'm not saying go bring in a veteran because Aaron Rodgers is going to be back in a year, but bring in someone that can manage this offense and get you guys to the playoffs. I'm not trying to be mean, but Zach Wilson is not the guy. But that being said, the Jets is not going to win this game. They probably won't win any game with Zach Wilson at the helm. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Well, they technically did win the game with Zach Wilson at the helm. They beat Buffalo.
That is true.
You will.
But Josh Allen let them beat them.
Patriot. Whatever.
Benjamin.
Mac, who are you taking?
I'm taking the Patriots as well because of the Zach Wilson factor. Also, the dude just ain't it. He is not him. That's who's not him. Zach Wilson is not him. I don't know if you guys listened to the before the game last night on Amazon, the broadcast. They actually were talking about the Jets quarterback situation, and they said it the best. It's just irresponsible to not try to find an upgrade. Somebody, I mean, they're even throwing out names like Jameis Winston. That tells you what people think about Zach Wilson when they're throwing out names like Jameis Winston. You know what I mean? Carson Wentz, his name even came up at one point.
Imagine.
So, it's just irresponsible right now to just leave Zach Wilson out there and try to get your team to rally behind a guy that completely lost the locker room a season ago. So, I got to go with the Patriots here.
I want to show some love for the Jets, but after what you said, I was leaning Jets, and now I'm going to go Patriots. Just because Bill Belichick is on the hot seat.
He's yet to get a win this season too, Adam.
If he gets a win, I think he can live to see another day. The Patriots defense is not terrible. Mac Jones is playing pretty good this season. He's had two pretty good games to start the year against Philadelphia. He played pretty well, and last week against Buffalo, he played pretty well. So I think that continues on with the Jets. And watch us all be wrong here, and Sauce Gardner returns one for a touchdown. The Jets win.
Right, the defense just shows up.
But anyways, moving right along. Here's a game that is very interesting and near and dear to our hearts. Buffalo Bills against the Commanders. Which one do you got, Mac, and why?
I got Buffalo here, man. It's going to be messy. Weather's going to be disgusting probably down there, and it's going to be a grinded out type of game. But I just think Buffalo is just they're just better. I think ultimately the talent is going to overwhelm Washington a little too much in this one, and I like the Buffalo Bills here.
The Buffalo Bunny circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Okay, Zion.
As much as I love Buffalo this season, I just think this defense frustrates Josh Allen. I think we get more of the second year Josh Allen that we've seen in game 1 and game 2. We've seen that against the Jets. So game 1, I see that Josh Allen. I do have him on Emmanuel Forbes. I've been watching him. I've been not studying Washington Commanders, but being that they're in the division, I've been watching them. And Emmanuel Forbes is looking pretty good as a rookie. Obviously, he is a rookie, but he's playing better than our rookies. That being said, I'm not trying to diss the Giants rookies, but I just something has a gut feeling that Washington goes out there at home and handles business against Buffalo. A hard-fought battle, win by 3.
Wow.
Walk-off field goal.
Commanders going 3-0, hurting the Giants' chances as they go. Okay, I'm going to go with the Commanders just because I want it to be weird and do something weird.
I want it to be.
Zion,
I'm sorry. I
Zion,
took your magic.
Zion beat me to the punch with the Washington team. Of course, great minds think alike, as they say. So I'm going to go with one of my other upset specials of the week, and that is the Washington Commanders beating the turnover-prone Buffalo Bills.
Love it.
Okay. Sorry. Just writing this down real quick. Give me a second, people. Sorry, live TV. This is how you do things. Carolina, Seattle. Mac, Carolina, Seattle. Who do you have? Probably a pretty easy one, but never can say never, right?
Never say never. Justin Bieber.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle here.
Could be a Brian Robinson.
Sure, Andy Dalton's leading Andy Dalton, I think, might be leading the Carolina Panthers out.
Did they bench him already? He's hurt.
He just hurt.
I mean, he's lining up behind offensive guards, so
yeah.
But Seattle. I don't see Carolina going out to Seattle and getting the job done, and I don't think there needs to be any real much explanation here. I just think Seattle is significantly better, especially at home, where it's, like I said, one of the toughest places to go play for anybody, let alone a team like the Carolina Panthers. So I think their Carolina Panthers continue to skid, and the Seattle Seahawks put another W on the board.
Zion?
I agree. I think the Seahawks overlooked the Rams week 1, and they got their asses kicked. And the Rams, this Puka kid and Matthew Stafford, and they still have Aaron Donald, and they still have Sean McVay. They look pretty good. But I think the Seahawks kind of overlooked the Rams and got demolished week 1. I think the Seahawks is a really good team. They showed it against the Lions, and there's no chance. I'm sorry, but if the Giants have a better chance of beating the Chiefs. We don't even play the Chiefs, but I love Carolina. I love their coaching staff. I don't believe in the offensive line, and we know as Giants fans, O-line matters. So Carolina doesn't have a chance.
So I'm also going with the Seattle Seahawks just because their offense woke up last week, and I think their offense continued to roll. Being at their home again, they dropped one to the Rams in their home opener against. I think they were in their home opener against LA. But I think they go back home in the 12th man and beat Carolina, and I think they beat them soundly too. But this game, I know they had a big injury. This game is going to be a laugher. You'll probably be able to turn it off at halftime. Dallas, Arizona. I don't even need to really. I think I know everyone's answer. here. I'm just going to write them in for you. But Mac, go ahead. Dallas, Arizona.
Real fast, Mac. Before you do that, I do want to say, guys. I think me, Mac, and Adam, we all know that Carolina is going to build something. They're just a couple years off. And Dilla, your comment is right. He doesn't have anybody right now. Young will probably be something in this league, but it's going to take some time. Go right ahead, Mac. I apologize.
Cowboys traveling out to the desert. I'm dialing it up, baby. I'm dialing it up right now. The upset special of the week.
What?
This is the upset
I put
special
in
of the
Dallas.
week. I'm dialing
You're
it
really
up.
going to think? Oh my God.
Arizona, because this is what Dallas does occasionally, man. They do it about 2 or 3 times a year, man. They'll go play a team like this, and they will drop the ball completely, man. I'm dialing it up. I know I sound crazy as shit right now. The Arizona Cardinals win this football game.
Well, Mac, I have to now erase everything, and it just deleted all the picks because my computer.
I thought our Washington pick was good. He just blew it out of the
computer
park.
is crashing right now because you just picked the Arizona Cardinals. They won't even let me put Arizona in. I can't believe you did that. Ridiculous. Zion.
But I'm sorry, 35-3. I don't care if Diggs is out. Like, Arizona is not scoring on this defense with Michael Parsons on the field. I love you, Mac. I love that. I hope you're right. But nothing is gonna come good out of Arizona's offense on Sunday.
Oh,
Nothing.
I'm just saying, Dallas is notorious for this every year, though. They do it every year. They just lose a couple of weird games like this.
Listen, Joshua Dobbs is not that guy, okay? We say guys aren't that guy. Joshua Dobbs had 28 points against our defense, which is terrible. He probably won't have 28 yards against this defense. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. If the Dallas Cowboys lose this game, they deserve to be on an island by themselves. I mean, my God, if I don't see Cooper Rush by mid-third quarter, something wrong. Okay.
I want to see Michael Parsons on at the half eating sunflower seeds.
Michael Parsons is good at. If I were a betting man, I'd say 3+ sacks in this game.
Yeah.
Anywho, here we go to another game, which we all know the outcome to, unless you're Mac and you decide to go crazy on this game. Kansas City versus Chicago versus Kansas City. I'm going to write in the team this time, and I know Mac is not going to change it on me this time. Mac, what is your pick between those two?
This time, I do believe the Kansas City Chiefs will absolutely explode all over the Chicago Bears. I don't think the Bears have a chance in this one. I think you're talking about Michael Parsons may have 3 sacks for that Bears offensive line, and the way Justin Fields, honestly, Justin Fields, as bad as their O-line is in Chicago, Justin Fields doesn't do it any favors. He steps into a lot of those sacks. He causes them a lot of them himself, things he could prevent. And I think this could be a really long afternoon for the Chicago Bears, man. And I think Kansas City Chiefs, they just don't have the offensive firepower to keep up with this Kansas City Chiefs football team. This won't even be competitive.
Won't even be competitive. KC. So I wrote it in for you already. I'm just going to say mine. KC. No explanation needed outside the fact that Chicago is booty cheeks. And then Zion. Who are you picking?
The only thing I would say is if it's football, anything can happen. If Kelsey gets hurt, don't want to hit on injuries. If Tremaine Edmonds shows up, I believe if Tremaine Edmonds shows up, the whole defense shows up because he's the captain of the defense, and it's a lot more closer game in the end. But then again, it's KC. I don't see Chicago beating KC with Justin Fields at the helm. I do want to take some time to say, like, I might have been wrong. I was hyping up Justin Fields. I said, give this guy a team, and it is looking like this guy's causing, the Max said it perfectly. I'm not going to repeat it, but a lot of the things that we've seen from earlier on doesn't look the same. So we'll watch him over the season. We'll see how he does. But that being said, KC all day.
KC all day. Long-winded answer to get to KC. Now, here comes some primetime games. Pittsburgh and the Raiders. Who do you got, Zion, in the Pittsburgh versus the Raiders?
I can't even remember his name. He's so bad. But McDaniels, that's his fucking name. If McDaniels coached Georgia, they wouldn't even win the game, okay? I do not like this guy as a coach. I just don't like him. I don't know what it is about him, but the Raiders are not going to win. They're not going to win anything. as long as he's there. Okay, yeah, they upset the Broncos, rip-de-doo. The Broncos are supposed to win that game. They're gonna get smashed on Sunday Night Football. I might take the Steelers with points. I might take the Steelers. I might give Raiders 10 points. Literally, I might buy points.
Well, right now, Las Vegas is giving them 2.5.
So
Exactly. I'm gonna give them more. I'm gonna buy points here because I think the Steelers are probably gonna win by 2 touchdowns.
So you're saying you're picking the Raiders then?
Oh, no way, I'm picking the Steelers.
I know. I'm just messing
Most
with
expensive tickets in the NFL for what?
you. For the greatest show on non-turf. No, I'm just kidding.
Look
Matt,
up the nosebleeds, Giants versus Raiders, $400. You can miss me with that.
$400.
I like the Steelers here. Also, I like Pittsburgh. Also, I think this is the week we see Kenny Pickett kind of show us be the guy that we thought we thought he was going to be, and I think that starts with against the Las Vegas Raiders.
I mean, Kenny Pickett's
I think the Raiders are only favored because they're at home.
Yeah,
I think that's the only reason why they're getting the nod as the favorites here is because they're at home.
I mean, Kenny Pickett's not having a bad game. Yeah, he played badly against the Browns, and then I believe it or not, he had 67% completion against the 49ers. That's crazy.
He's low-key tanking.
But
I don't even think they're trying to tank on purpose. I think they just suck.
I'm going to go with Steelers in this game, just because I like Kenny Pickett. I think they're going to. They just beat the Browns last week with that has a better defense than this. I think you're going to see George Pickens, who, if I'm not mistaken, I did say was better choice than Wando Robinson. But hey, you know what? We're not going to go revisit history here. So I'm picking the Steelers. Okay, next game.
Fast sleeper. Washington's going to get a touchdown.
Nice. Put that on your fantasy team. Put that in your fantasy note. I'm not putting that on the paperwork here, but
don't even waste your time putting that on paper. Let's get it. Go ahead.
Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay, the first of 2 Monday night games. Who do you have here, Mac, and why?
I got Philadelphia, man.
Eagles, Mac, the secret Eagle fan.
I think the battle of the 2-0 teams here, but I think the cream always seems to rise to the top, man, and that's what's going to happen here. Baker Mayfield has been off to a hot start, and I think this could be a very competitive game, more competitive than people would have thought maybe a few weeks ago before the season got underway. But I do believe the Eagles will find a way to win the way they have been the first couple weeks of this season, because that's just what good football teams do. They find a way to still get it done, and I believe that's what the Eagles are going to do on Monday night against the Buccaneers down in Tampa.
That's what the Eagles are going to do. Zion, who are you picking and why?
So I have the Eagles winning, but I have it a little bit different. This is a we're back kind of game. They're gonna shut down Baker Mayfield and the offense, and the Eagles are just gonna go in here and run all over the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers is a 2-0 team. The Eagles is a 2-0 team. The Eagles has been playing shells of themselves. They haven't been playing good football, and they've been winning games. Monday night, they're going to come up. They're going to show you why they're going to be there at the very end, competing against the Dallases, competing against the 49ers of the world. It's a get-right game for the Eagles. I have it going into the half, the Eagles up by 2 touchdowns and probably winning by 3. I just have a feeling that the Eagles are going to smash.
And I am going to put this comment up because I think it appeals here more than the Arizona-Dallas game. NFL is too unpredictable. Someone's going to lose that is supposed to win. And that is my upset special of the week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the pick that I'm going with. I think they're just going to – I think those receivers, it's going to be a shootout. And I think people are overlooking how good Tampa Bay's defense is. And I think Tampa Bay's defense, who has – one of my favorite linebackers in Devin White, is going to show up and show out, and they're going to steal against the Philadelphia Eagles. All my Eagle fan friends are probably blowing up my DMs right now saying I'm freaking jerk off, but that's okay. That's why we play these games. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win 3-0. Tampa Bay Bucks led by Baker Mayfield. The Baker is making cupcakes. Okay. And the last game is LA against Cincinnati Bengals. Mac, I think you had a few words about this early on. I'll let you start here as the last game of the weekend.
I like the Los Angeles Rams here. I think they are just playing much better football than anyone anticipated them playing. They're much more competitive. The Bengals seem to be spiraling completely out of control. I believe they're going to be without Joe Burrow this weekend, and I mean in this game. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what I've been hearing, that he's not going to be able to go. And I think that just, I mean, he hasn't been playing well anyway through the first couple of weeks, but at the same time, I mean, they're still a much far better team with him than without him. So I think the Rams get it done, man. I think it's going to be too much Puka Nakua, baby.
Puka!
Too much Puka. Yeah, the Rams get it done. Monday Night
Too much
Football.
puka. Pause. And let's go with Zion. Who are you
I
picking?
mean, like if Joe Burrow was playing, it makes the game a little bit different. But I'm gonna ride with Matthew Stafford and Puka, and Coach McVay and Aaron Donald. Like a lot of people laughed off the Rams, and I don't know why, because the Rams kept their core together. They still have Aaron Donald. Last time I checked, he's one of the best to ever play at a position. They still have Matthew Stafford, the most underrated top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But if I just said top 10, people probably gonna get mad because I put him in the top 10. That's how underrated the guy is.
Who?
Guys, and
Matthew Stafford?
Matthew Stafford, yeah.
He
Puka
shouldn't be.
Puka is gonna do Puka things. Back to you, Adam.
Yes.
Who is this
And
Puka kid? We don't know, but he's balling.
Puka Nakua, people. Puka Nakua is like a Kuna Matata. He's going to Kuna Matata his way to another victory here, because the Rams, my friend, the LA Rams, with the resurrection, rise like a phoenix, are going to win this game, because my second favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals, just don't have enough. Joe Burrow, you can clearly see that calf is affecting his throws. He can't plant on that plant leg. It's his front leg that's hurting him. That's why he's having trouble. If it was his back leg, he probably can compensate a little bit. But when you're heavier on the front, you're trying to push that forward, that power forward. It's letting the ball come out a little early and a little erratically. So, with that being said, I like Puka Nakua, and I am a huge fan of Matthew Stafford, as I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks that have played in his era. All he does is produce, and all he does is win. So,
And don't sleep on Williams. Don't sleep on Williams, the running back, dual threat running back.
yes, they just got rid of Cam Akers. He went to the Minnesota Vikings. If you were sleeping under a rock, you missed that transaction with everything that's being said. With all that, you might have missed it because the FBI raided Chicago, so that could have been something that took over your
Feed.
your news feed. So, with that being said, those are the picks for week number 3 in the NFL. Guys, thank you for contributing. That is it.
Love it.
Great stuff, guys, man. Zion, you want to talk a little USC before we get out of here, man?
I would love you.
What you expecting from him this week, man?
Just another warm-up game. Caleb Williams will probably have 5 touchdowns at the half. Get rested. Prepare for Colorado. Nothing against Arizona State, guys, but we have a tough schedule the second half. That's when we play the top 25 teams. We get the Colorados of the world, the Oregons, the Washingtons,
Notre Dame.
the Notre Dames, absolutely. I am excited for my game, obviously, but I am super more excited to actually see Colorado actually get tested. They're going against a really good defense here in Oregon. And, me and Mac, I want to take this time to just talk on Colorado real fast. Me and Mac did the reaction video when they beat TCU because we was really happy for them, right? This mainstream attention that they've been getting is absolutely ridiculous, okay? Nothing against Deion Sanders. Absolutely love the guy and absolutely love what he's doing. But Nebraska does not have a football team. They should have spanked Colorado State. And the fact that TCU, now we know, does not have a defense, and we kind of already knew they didn't have a defense, this Oregon game is super important for Colorado. Oregon is giving them 21, and they are without Hunter. I think if we take out Deion Sanders' kids, his 2 sons and Hunter, what is that football team? So I'm more excited to see how Colorado performs against Oregon. Do they cover that 21? Does Oregon blow them out of the water? Do they win against Oregon? That's all the questions we have. And I just can't wait to see that Colorado game against Oregon, because next week we see Colorado and we're probably going to be the toughest out yet. So I pray that they can beat Oregon and we can handle them. That's just the way I want it to be. But that being said, pretty excited, but can't get too excited when you're going against these teams that shouldn't even be playing football. Nothing against Arizona State. It's just I never liked that about college where you got Georgia's schedule playing all like Division II teams. Don't like that at all. But that being said, thank you for letting me this time talking on college football, and I am excited. I can't wait until I match up with my fellow co-host. I was gonna say Mac. Adam. Adam is a Notre Dame fan, and they look pretty damn good themselves with Sam Hortman at the helm. So that's gonna be a fun matchup. Too bad the Pac-12 is getting destroyed, but at the end of the day, the Pac-12 got some teams this year.
Real quick, Sonny D. Thanks for joining. Real quick, Sonny D. I just I can. You can look at this point. People can have whatever opinions they want of Daniel Jones, but until this offensive line gets fixed, I wouldn't recommend throwing any young quarterback behind it at the state the offensive line is right now because you'll just ruin the kid immediately. A la Derek Carr. I mean, not Derek Carr. What's his brother's name? David Carr. A la what happened in Houston with him. It's just you got to get this offensive line addressed. That has to be the main focus of concentration. I'm tired of listening to these coaches dummy it down like they're not seeing the same things we're seeing out there. This offensive line play for the New York Giants has been absolutely pathetic for far too long. Look, DJ, like I've said, is an average guy. You can win with an average guy. The other guys got to be. That just means the other guys got to absolutely do their job. This O line is not doing their job, point blank and period. And that has to be more of a focus on getting that addressed. But thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, please sub up to myself, Adam Costas, Zion Zenith. We greatly appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Don't worry, there'll be another QB in here at some point next year. But don't worry about it. Notre Dame plays Ohio State. Good test for them to really see where their chops are. Can't wait to see them against USC. I think Sam Hartman is that dude for the Fighting Irish. He came over from, I think it was Wake Forest. I could be wrong. It might have been Purdue. They both have the same kind of colors. I do believe. I do believe. Let me get you the accurate information. He actually transfer portal. He came from. He went from Wake Forest University, so I was right. Wake Forest. He was a guy on my radar last year. He's going to be a guy on your radar this year. Look for that guy in the second and third round.
He's the only mother effer. Sorry, he's the only mother effer right now that's competing with Caleb Williams on numbers, and they're both getting sit, like not even be for the game's end. This guy has 1061 with 13 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. 3 games into the season, Caleb Williams is sitting right around that number. I think Ohio State, I don't want to take over. I think they have an offense that could literally score on you guys, but I think you guys' defense will end up showing up in the end. Upset alert, I have Notre Dame winning straight up this weekend. Well, I don't believe in Ohio State's quarterback.
Look, 13 touchdowns in like the 2 or 3 games they played is insane. Sam Hartman is getting showcased at a big-time school. Notre Dame finally has a quarterback that they can actually rely on, a quarterback that is probably the best quarterback.
A coach that doesn't – sorry, nothing against Kelly, but a coach that doesn't choke big-time games. Sorry, Logan.
Well, that too. But I'm really saying the quarterback they haven't had in a long time, probably since Joe Montana was there. That's how far back you could go with their quarterback. That's how dynamic this guy is playing. I mean, if you want to say Ron Paulus, I don't think Ron Paulus was this good. I think he was a Notre Dame legend. Anyone knows.
Well, you taking that history lesson at Adam. Let's go.
But hey, listen, man, you people think I just know the NFL. I've been doing college a long time, people, a long time. Them Golden Domers, when you ain't got cable, they're the only ones on. When you're growing up. So all you see is the Fighting Irish. You got Ron Paulus. They had that Jackson kid. I've seen Lou Holtz. I've seen the guy. I forget who the guy was after him. But then Bob Davie, I think his name was. My God, Bob Davie was terrible. They thought he was going to be the next big thing. Then you had another coach who was terrible, and they had Brian Kelly come in. So I think this guy is going to do well. And like I said,
Marcus Freeman is legit.
Sam Hartman.
All right, look. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your state point. No, finish your point before I go, because I'm going somewhere else. Obviously.
He's about to clap on some NFL talk, I think.
But I'm all set. You can go clap back at whoever you need to clap back at.
Not clap back, but just talk NFL.
Oh no, I'm not clapping. It's not clapping. I'm just saying. This is what this is what I'm talking about. I agree with this. Like I said, it's a different what I said earlier. Like I said, playmakers making plays. Some of these guys, you make their quarterbacks look even better. You know what I mean? Because they're making plays for their guys. Everything the New York Giants playmakers did not do last night. Like I said, Jones, is he perfect? Hell no. By no means. But at the same time, we seem to hold him so much more accountable than other guys. You know what I mean? Like as if he's the only one out there seeming to not get the job done. No, other people are not getting the job done as well. He's not the only one out there. Other people got to do their damn job too. Like I said, he's putting the ball sometimes in these guys' hands. They got to make plays. They're not always going to be perfect passes. They're just not. You think every pass that Joe Burrow throws is perfect? Every pass that Patrick Mahomes throws is perfect? No,
Yes.
but their playmakers make plays. That's just what it is. Their playmakers make plays. That's just what it comes down to. And we don't have that happening with the New York Giants. Like I said, I don't think Daniel Jones is a top tier guy, and I've said my reasons why. I've said why I believe that. But at the end of the day, he gets the ball out there to these guys sometimes, and they're just not making plays. And it's just disappointing. Like I said, 4 interceptions this season, 3 of them have bounced off his receivers' hands. So what can a guy do?
Well,
what can you expect a guy to do?
Two of them, let me just roast him real fast, Adam, and then you go. 2 of them, you can't be asking, I want to go catch balls out of the backfield, and I don't care if it's raining. You dropped 2 of them, Berkeley, and where were you now? Injured on the sideline. Yeah, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying you can't. I want to be more receiving and drop 2 like that. That's easy catchable balls. You shouldn't have dropped it. No, Berkeley's the best player on this damn team, so I'm not going to roast him, but I agree 100%, Matt. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole because he's already my narrative is being written for me. So whether we want to agree or disagree, that's fine. But I'm done with talking about DJ because again, I already told you what he does. He's great against bad teams. He's terrible against good teams, and I'll leave it at that.
With that being said, this has been another edition of the Premium Takes Podcast. This is my guy, Adam Costas. This is Zion Zenith. NYG Jeffy T, always looking down upon us, man, with that great smile, man, shining bright, man. Throw up them fours for my guy, NYG Jeffy T, man. Most definitely always here with us, man.
Absolutely.
One love, Jeff, man. And this has been a Premium Takes Podcast. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming out. We back next Friday night. Peace.